So I'm Petra here at Fruition Seeds, in fact in our kitchen here in Zone 5 in the Finger Lakes of upstate New York. And what does that actually mean, Zone 5? And how do I find out where my zone is? I have a link below, so check it out, of how you can find out what your zone is. But here's the thing, it's changing. It's changed since I was a little girl 3.5 decades ago. It will continue to change, and likely even more rapidly. So yes, here's the thing. I want to share some ideas about growing zones and then some just broader ideas of how to be resilient together. So here is a little planting calendar. And if you've ever ordered from Fruition Seeds since 2019, you've likely gotten this in your order. It's just a free little postcard that we share. And it is kind of a baby encyclopedia. It has when to start sowing indoors, what you can direct sow, when to transplant out, when to anticipate harvest. Tons of awesome info on this with lots of different crop types. And it's perfect for zones 4 through 6. If you're in 7, you can add 2 weeks on either end. And if you're in warmer zones, you can continue adding 2 weeks as you go. This is also something that we shared in much greater detail in our Rise and Shine, Starting Seeds with Ease. This is my 40-page ebook on seed starting, and if you haven't already gotten it, definitely check it out. It's kind of beautiful. The original was just mostly black and white and full of awesome, great info, but this is the 40-page version, and oh man, it is so beautiful, full color, tons of great info, but also tons of beautiful photographs, so it's awesome. So, okay. Zones. You've found out what your zone is. You've added 2 weeks on either side. You're paying attention. Here are the things to pay attention to. There are things to mess around with and experiment with, and there are things to not. So things like peas and arugula, the plants, the varieties that you would sow earliest in spring, these you can really push the envelope on, because if it snows, if it rains, if they're going to be just fine. They're well adapted to be really resilient in lots of different climates, in that early season especially. So even, for example, sometimes in mid-February, I've been tempted to plant peas, and I did. And some years they do fine and other years they don't. But here's the thing, you can't mess around with tomatoes so much. If they experience nights less than 50 degrees, they're like, that was really stressful. And certainly a pepper will just pout for the rest of the season. So it's harder to know, knowing that the frost date, the ultimate frost date, is an impossible equation of knowing when it will be. So we just have to pay close attention to that. Check out our tutorial on how to predict and anticipate and plan around the frost, to pay attention to all those signs. But in the meantime, know that there are so many crops, basically all the crops that you can direct sow in March, in early spring. So peas, spinach, Asian spinach, oh man, a wintergreen mesclun mix, kale, radishes. You can totally expand and play and just push the envelope on those things, and those seeds will be adapting right along with you. So those are the seeds that are going to feed us most, I suspect, in these shoulder seasons, especially as our climates are changing, friends. So just some little thoughts on zones and how to predict them, and how to not use this card necessarily as an end-all, be-all encyclopedia, but a living, breathing matrix of life that helps you just guess better and play better and enjoy that much more abundance together.